All right. Welcome to another episode of Connect and Politic. We're here with a special guest. Please introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Banke Journal. I also go by Banke, the author of The Word Goddess. I am located in H-Town, Houston, Texas. My favorite snack at the moment, first thing came to mind was sunflower seeds. Salted Frito-Lay, the turquoise pack at the convenience store near the front, the two for $1.09 joints, okay? Very specific. That's my favorite.
Got it. Well, do you remember your favorite food as a child?
Crunchers came to mind. They were like these jalapeno kettle chips. All the corner store shit, like the fucking Cheeto sticks, the pickles in the paper bag, beef patties. Yeah.
Interesting. And what's your favorite food now as an adult?
If you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have said ice cream with no hesitation. Now I'm kind of not too much with the dairy anymore. I love salad. I make a bomb ass like tropical mango jerk salmon topped salad that hits. It's a house favorite.
This is homemade, I take it.
Yes.
And when was the last time you had that?
Last night, and I'm gonna have it again today. My friend was like, "Is this the only thing you eat?" And I was like, sometimes.
Nice. No, that's good. I mean, you find something you love, so why not go in?
Yeah.
What's your fondest memory from childhood?
Swimming. We had this beautiful in-ground pool. My brother taught me how to swim by throwing me in. Well, he gave me some lessons. He gave me a day of lessons, and I was like, timid. And he's like, "You got it." I'm like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Okay, we can stop for the day." So we're walking in, and this motherfucker does. But I love the water. I love to swim. We used to have wonderful like family barbecues. Actually, I didn't really like it when all the cousins and shit came over. Cause niggas don't really know how to handle shit. But when it was just us, like my immediate family, the siblings in the pool, yeah, definitely a favorite memory.
Yeah. Do you miss anything about being a child?
I always knew, some people were in a rush to grow up. I think about the Toys R Us line. Like, I don't want to grow up. I'm a big ass kid, Yeah. I probably wasn't big ass, but yeah, I'm a big kid. I knew that as a child, I knew childhood was magical. I was fully aware, I miss having hours on end to just daydream and just make up shit in my mind. Yeah.
How do you think your childhood helped groom you into who you are today?
That imagination, creativity. I was and am an introvert as a kid. I was the one who was like, "Oh, where's Banke? Where's Banks?" Like, nobody knows. I might be underneath the stairs. So y'all talking about me, but y'all don't know that I can hear you, right? Like, I've always loved to like kind of be in a position of observer and recorder. From as long as I can remember, anytime somebody asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, at one point there was a little phase when I would say doctor, it's a Nigerian shit, what you're supposed to say. But the answer always was, and since the age of 10, I definitely verbalized it, was writer. Like, I've always known.
Wow. So, that early, did you have like inspirations, like say famous writers that was inspiring to you, that you would read?
Growing up, I love James and the Giant Peach. I love Ronald Dahl. I love like the worlds he just created and the fantasy that he took you on. My mother is very kind of like liberal, progressive, and I was the last born, so I got to do a lot of stuff that maybe I wouldn't have, but I read a lot of Sidney Sheldon, who was like a classier version of Danielle Still. So it was like it was good trashy novels. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like this heroine and, she's having some kind of issue that causes her to have to travel the world and have these adventures and have sex, but the language of the sexual scenes was a bit veiled. It was just very kind of like lofty, like, oh, her she cascaded and rippled with passion, like that type of language. You know what I mean? So I was 10 reading this, like, yes, this is a win.
Yo, that's
I
crazy.
used to read my great aunt's magazines called True Story, which were like these, again, just trashy, kind of like tabloid, scandal, crime shit. I love Christopher Pike growing up. He was a classier version of R.L. Stein. Remember like the Goosebumps
Yeah,
series?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Christopher Pike did it to like the next level. You know what I mean? So he wasn't as popular, but he was better. Um, and then once I ended up at a black school, once we moved from the suburbs to the hood, and then I got introduced like black literature, like the Harlem Renaissance. Langston Hughes was like my first entrance, I guess, into like serious writing.
Yeah,
And I was hooked immediately.
yeah. So you mentioned that your mom is, I guess, liberal, and so she allows you to read a lot. What are some? Did you grow up with more than just your mom, or did you like mom, grandmom, dad, grandfather, etc., or was it just you grew
Yeah, I
with?
grew up with both my parents. They divorced when I was 10, but then they moved around the corner from each other. So that was kind of annoying because my dad was very strict, like super like African as fuck, right? So when they divorced, I'm thinking like, yeah, finally this shit got loosened up. Nigga, no. We live around the corner from each other. We're still on the same page. Whatever he says still goes. I'm like, you still listening to this nigga? But but thankfully so. Thankfully so. And my mother is Black American, but she's from Florida, and I grew up in Rochester, New York. So growing up, we didn't have a lot of family around. It was my great aunt who was kind of like the plug on like that great migration journey to end up in upstate New York from Florida. I'm from the backwoods of Florida, Quincy, Florida. My mom was from. So we had my great aunt, and then my mother's sister lived in Rochester before she passed, and she had 3 children, our first cousins. And so to this day, the only family I have in Rochester, like blood family, is still my great aunt, those 3 first cousins, and now their kids and their kids' kids. You
Wow.
know, but everybody else is either in Florida or in Nigeria. In the past 10 years, my father's sister and all of her children, and now their children, have migrated here, but they're in Chicago. But growing up, I didn't have that. We didn't. The only Nigerian we really knew was my dad, so we didn't really understand why he was so weird and so mean. We didn't have like the cultural context. And then his Nigerian friends were also married to Black Americans. So,
Wow.
and then they didn't teach any of us Yoruba because Yoruba was like their secret language for like doing dirt and shit. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, that's the upbringing, the background.
Okay, so from both of your dad and your mom, what are some important lessons that you learned from them?
That's a great question. From my dad, I learned to be the best, to not be satisfied with anything but the best, to be relentless. I'm hungry. I go hard at everything I do. That was like literally beat into me, right? From my mom, I learned to have fun, like go with the flow, to be open to like to experiencing life.
Yeah. What are your favorite things to do for self care?
Mm, right. Like this my journal. I don't leave home without it. The moment I wake up, I write 3 pages, like just kind of like stream of consciousness. Every day I have a blog, call it The List, through my website, bankeauthor.com. And I write morning messages to my list like every day. Um, and it's like, it's an extension of my journal. It kind of feels a bit like, I guess, like Carrie Bradshaw's column in Sex and the City, mixed with like She's Gotta Have It, because I'm living this exciting life as a Black artist in a Black art hub, which is Houston. And I've been here for 3 years, so it's still a novelty to me. It's still exciting. Um, I feel very childlike in regards to my work. I try not to take it too serious. Uh, I'm very serious about it, but I don't take myself too seriously, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So I just share my fun and my adventures because I always have them.
yeah. And the writing that you So is there a different, what's the difference between what you journal in your personal journal and what you journal online?
Yeah, so when in my personal journal, there is no censor because nobody else is ever gonna read it, right? In my handwriting, I mean, maybe I should have been doctor because my shit is like fucking doctor, pharmacist. It's illegible. I don't have to worry about somebody finding this and having my secrets. The minute I write this shit, I can no longer even read it. You know what I mean? Like it's purely cathartic. Like just get it out, get it off your chest. And then I go from that mode. So I'm still kind of in that free state, not self-conscious. You know, I go into that with my blog, but I'll be a little bit more mindful. So like if I be out here, I'm cute, I might have a little interaction with somebody. I may not necessarily divulge that. you know, and I might. It depends on the day. Yeah, I give a lot of myself. I truly do.
Oh man. Too much, too much. No, that's good. That's good stuff. So okay, you do a lot of writing. So is writing pretty much your main thing when it comes to self care, and the only thing you do for self?
Yeah, writing and dance, being outside in nature, like even taking this interview out in the sun right now. I think my face is probably getting a bit shiny. I don't give a fuck. Life calls it shine, right? Um, and that, like, I think the biggest thing I do for self care is I'm not chained by the shell, like how I look. You know what I mean? Like if I want to just walk out the house, dress however I want, I will. Um, if I don't feel like putting fucking makeup on, I won't. Never a bra, like ever. Um, just having freedom and not worried about how other people may perceive that. I feel very. They say this, when you get older. I'm 36. I just feel fully settled with who I am.
Yeah. And so, what are some things you do for self growth?
I'm gonna again say journal, like that reflection. I hold myself to account. Like if I'm feeling some type of way about something, I'm going to have the internal conversation to say, what am I feeling? Like, am I jealous right now? Like, why am I jealous? Uh, like I'm just honest with myself.
Yeah. How do
And I
you?
shouldn't say just because there's nothing minimal or simple about that.
Yeah. And how do you, given, like you said, you're in the artist capital, the Black artist capital, you're young, you're cute, you're free. How do you manage distractions?
Mm. Yo, I treat distractions like demons. Okay, I chop them up, motherfuckers' heads off. I don't play. Um, Anybody or anything that comes into my life, I'm asking, is this propelling my work or is it distracting from my work? There is no in between. I've had situations where simple things like, again, I do this no matter where I am because I take it with me, right? So if we happen to wake up in the same space together and I go to write my pages and you're trying to talk to me, nigga, kill yourself. It's over. It's very telling. Like, yeah.
Oh man. So hold on. So if you really like this person, right, and things are going
And
well.
this isn't just romantic sexual relationships. I have friendships. I'm really gauging this person's intention because sometimes when a person is very focused and disciplined, the people around you, it offends them in a way because it reminds you of everything you're not doing. For instance, I have a sister in LA who she's like super athletic. Like she's so fit. Like, I mean, even when she was pregnant, she had a six pack up until like 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? So when I'm like in my chunky mode, when I'm just eating shit and not working out, and she's talking about her workouts, she's not even talking about me. She just living her best life and sharing something that's important to her. I find myself getting a little, why this bitch always talking about working out? No, bitch, why you not working out? You know what I mean? Like, so I think that sometimes when a person is very purpose filled and they're very disciplined and consistent, then sometimes people around you will unintentionally try to sabotage that.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think, you know, to your point, I don't think it's even conscious, right? Like a lot of time it could be a subconscious, just it's done subconsciously. Is there something you're looking forward to that excites you? I mean, I know you just dropped a new book, but is it something else that you're looking forward to that excites you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking, we're doing the Nipsey Hussle $100 plan, Proud to Pay. So that has been exciting to see that unfold and actually work. I feel like I'm in social scientist mode as I'm watching this. You know what I mean?
For some reason, you're breaking up, or you have there's like a little bit of feedback. Just FYI.
Okay.
I mean, I can hear you.
Okay.
But just FYI.
That's unfortunate. How long has it been doing that?
Couple minutes.
Okay, let me step back inside. This is why you got to get out of there, my nigga. Sound better. We're gonna lose a little bit of light, so I'm gonna sit here by the window. How's that?
Say something.
Say something.
So it was good, except I don't know why there's an echo. Not an echo, but like a drag.
Oh. Yes, there probably is an echo because my apartment is a workspace, so I have a lot of empty space in here.
Okay. I don't think that's the reason. It's just a drag. It's not even the echo. It's the drag. But it's fine. I can hear you. That's what matters, and people can decipher it later. So but go on. You were talking about what excites you. What are you looking for? Say that again?
I prefer to be outside, but it did make a change in the audio when I came inside.
No, there's no change. You might as well go back out.
Okay. Glad we established that. We're talking about distractions and how a person can be unintentionally doing it.
Yeah, no. So we're done. We're talking about what you're looking forward to that excites you.
Oh, okay, sorry. So watching this plan unfold excites me. I'm collaborating with an artist for an exhibit at the Houston Museum of African American Culture. We're doing that in the month. I'm going to use Gordon Park as a reference just because it's the most popular one, but in regards to kind of like those black and white photographs of black people in our element doing our naturally royal shit.
So now it's gotten worse. So I know. Hold on. Maybe if you go back into your apartment, maybe there's a certain space in your apartment that works better. It could be. I'm trying to look at your barcode, to see reception, but it looks. I mean, it's all white, so it looks. And it all goes.
Yeah. It should be popular. Let's turn this on. Okay, I'm gonna sit down on my pink chair then, which is my favorite spot in the house. This is right. Okay, Lord. Don't see. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a headphone?
A handphone?
Headphone.
Yeah, I do.
Like earbuds.
I don't have earbuds. That's too trendy. I got these old-fashioned airport shits. Okay.
Nice. Like a Walkman. Okay, can you hear me now?
How's this?
This is perfect. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Yes.
All
right. Well, shit. I think we can start the interview from here. We can have that audio. Like, it's not gonna work for anybody.
Yeah. Okay. You were saying what you're looking forward to and what excites you.
Yes. So creating excites me. Bringing people together for impactful conversations excites me. So we did a live experience on Tuesday, which was very curated. Like, I'm very specific. It was invitation only. Because the most crucial component of any event is the people that you put in the same space with each other, right? Like people who are both knowledgeable and then also who are learners. I hate conversations where it's like don't just fucking expert speech me. Like, let's have an exchange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you can be open and transparent and say if you don't know something. I think that's huge. Like, I find myself in conversations a lot because, you know, I'm a writer. That's my form. That's my medium of art. But I love visual art, so I'm in the art scene, the gallery spaces a lot. I love music. I'm in the live music scene a lot, and then poetry as well. And in the visual art space a lot, I find people like just dropping names that I don't know. And sometimes there's that hesitation to be like, wait, who's that? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to seem stupid or that's the imposter syndrome that could like rear up. But nigga, I don't know. Who was that? And so the spaces that I create, it allows for people to be able to do that. For instance, with our last session on Tuesday, we were all going around, and the opening question was like, "What's one of your favorite novels?" And there was a gentleman there who was like, "I've never read a novel. Like, I really don't read." And it was okay for him to say that, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got fucking professors of English in there too, like, and then they're, you know, expounding upon what they like, and every answer was as valid. So I'm excited about creating a virtual experience that brings those same elements of exchange. And then that's the beauty that was in the venue, again, with the Black art and the Black literature, music, to give people that feeling that we had in the live space virtually. So working with different visual artists to figure out how to do that in a compelling way. And like I said, my marketing strategy around New Black, which is my second novel. So back in my space, let me hold it up.
Nice.
It's purdy. My marketing strategy. I'm sorry?
Well, actually, go on. I was going to ask you, after you're done, I'm going to ask you about your first novel as well.
Okay, awesome. So my marketing strategy is following Nipsey Hussle's Proud to Pay campaign. That's the thing that kind of put him on the market, even when he was still underground, which was the distinction between him and his peers. So I'm kind of following it to fidelity with like tweaks that make sense for me and what my product is. So again, as that's unfolding, and we're at the phase now where word of mouth is gonna do all the rest of the work for me. At the end of the month, I will be presenting a poetry exhibit as a part of a photography exhibit at the Houston Museum of African American Culture. And the photographer, his name is Colby Dill, and he's, I mean, this is an overused term, but he's brilliant. Just a very unique talent, and that his aesthetic is so rooted in the people in the streets as it is in high art. Like, he's an art nigga, for lack of a better term. Like, I have a whole piece around that. Like, the people in ode to the artists who were born in these environments to tell these stories that nobody else could tell, and who are also very studied in what they do, so they can do it at the highest level. So he'll be presenting his photography, and then I'll have a live poetry installation where people can come around and see poets performing this choreo poem that I wrote, and it complements the photography. So I'm really excited about that because I haven't done a live poetry installation before.
Yeah. And what was your first book called, and what is it about?
And so the first book is called Always Want More, and it's about a first-year teacher in Rochester, New York. So she's coming back to her hometown after kind of getting her heart broken in the big city. She was living in New York City doing hip-hop journalism, and she kind of got burned out a little bit, you know, kind of being that young party girl on the scene, trying to balance her talent as well as her social life. The city eats her up and chews her out. So she goes back to Rochester, and she takes this teaching job, which, you know, feels like a defeat, but in a way she finds her purpose and her power and what she's doing with these, with her students. At the same time, she falls in love for the first time, and she finds out that he is a kingpin, and some of her students are actually working for him. So she has to reconcile this idea of being this community-minded person while being in love with somebody who many will argue is destroying the community.
Nice.
So it's like a new age, coldest winter ever. I've always been interested in kind of like the urban coming of age story, right? Like coldest winter ever is one of my strongest influences to kind of change my life. But I never saw that story kind of told from the teacher's perspective. Like Ernest Gaines, A Lesson Before Dying, kind of gets into the psychology of being a Black educator and these neighborhoods where it's like there's kind of this hopelessness, right? So it's almost like what's even the point, because the social conditions aren't really conducive to anything, the lessons you're trying to impart, but that in itself is the point. So I would say Always Want More is kind of a mix of those two. Well, not those two novels in particular, but those two themes and those other reference points. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of alluded to this a little, but who are your top five literary influences?
Top five? Okay, then we're gonna have to go into the top five MCs that are alive after that. But okay, Maya Angelou. And going back to my blogs and those daily morning messages I send out to my list, I model them a lot after the tone of Maya Angelou's autobiographies. She was so telling, like she didn't censor anything, the good, the bad, her petty shit, her sex shit, her art, like her mom life, like she shows you a mirror of herself at her worst and at her best. So Maya Angelou, James Baldwin, in regards to him being that observer and just having the very precise language to translate our experiences. Sister Souljah for writing a good hood book. And I'm going to repeat that again. A good hood book is so powerful. Like a book that niggas in the hood are going to actually read, right? That's going to have that substance mixed in or disguised in this kind of like very fast-paced, glamorous criminal story. So that's three. I was going to say Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi, but I just feel like saying a Nigerian name. I don't really know if that's one of my top five influences. So I'll scratch her. Baby Moore Campbell, she wrote Your Blues Ain't Like Mine, Sisters and Brothers, 72-Hour Hold. She tells urban stories in a very elevated way as well. I'm going to go with Terry McMillan, OG for a fucking reason. And lastly, let's round this up with Toni Morrison. Some of Toni Morrison books, half of them, I don't fucking understand. I'm just gonna say that. But the half that I do, I fuck with it. Yeah.
And your point about Sister Souljah and a good hood book. Have you read any of Donna Goins' books?
I have. I've read two.
Okay. Did you like any of them?
Yeah. No.
No?
I did it so when somebody would ask me this question, I said no.
Oh.
That was a little bit too raw.
So
like
if someone asks you, you can say, yeah, I read it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, nah. It was I can't think of the title, but one where they're just kind of just describing like the heroin dens, like, you know what I mean? Like it's very visceral, for sure, very moving and stirring for sure. But I didn't like where it moved me to. Like, you know?
Oh,
I was disturbed. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's yeah, I mean he painted very vivid pictures.
For sure. Some shit I don't want to see.
Yep. Is there something on your bucket list that you want to learn or do?
I want to learn Yoruba. I say, because it's so hard to learn Yoruba because you have like, it just is. And then I'm gonna have to listen to somebody talking shit. Because if I have a tutor, it's gonna be a fucking Nigerian. They gonna talk shit. Like, I was gonna talk like, just, yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm here. Like,
Learning Yoruba. That's good. That's a good one. Is there something you want to unlearn?
Mm. Yeah, okay. I see you. Something I want to unlearn. That nice girl shit. Like, I battle this a lot because business is masculine. Business is about domination. Business is about having a clear objective and going out and getting what you want, no matter what. Um, I am, and so when it comes to business, I am very aggressive. I have high masculine energy. And my personal life and every other area outside of pushing my shit, I'm very feminine. I like to go with the flow. I like to attract the right things. I like to receive. I like to be I like to be admired. Um, so what I want to unlearn is that gray area in between where I feel apologetic about how aggressive I am, like when I'm interacting with people about business, like especially being in the South and coming from the East Coast, like, yo, niggas don't fuck with me. Like, they be mad. Like, it offends them. It's like, damn, you always so aggressive. You're so direct. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So I want to be completely comfortable and not giving a fuck when they panties be in a bunch. That's what I want to unlearn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And have you started the journey?
I have. I find myself often when I'm not saying something that I want to say because I'm trying to adapt and be seen as more palatable by these Southern sensibilities, or I don't even know if it's a Southern thing or a generational thing. I don't know what the source of it is, but I will push through and say and do what I want. Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Mm, go to class more. I was a terrible college student. I was about because my favorite thing in the world is a good conversation, like what we're doing now, right? Without it being like an interview. But it was just like, just no camera, chilling, vibing, learning, building. That's my favorite thing. So that's how I learned the most in undergrad. I went to the University of Virginia and it was just, everybody around me was so smart and they were so into something and just kind of learning vicariously through them. But going to class and actually doing the work, like who does that? I mean, I did enough, I graduated, but yeah.
Go to class more. What would you say is the best advice you received about money?
mm. Shit, I don't know if I have I read this book called Happy Money. It was written by this Japanese like business tycoon. And it's this idea of money being energy and never spending your money on something that you're unhappy about. Like, I don't care if it's a fucking Girl Scout and they run up on you. You really don't want to give them that dollar. Like, don't give it to them. Because it attracts like negative energy. Like nothing should be compulsion or guilt or for fear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to, again, with the reflecting and just being very present with myself. Like when I receive money, how does it make me feel? When I'm looking at my bank account, how am I feeling? Like just being in this state of peace and not having any anxiety attached to it.
Mm. So have you, crossed that journey? Have you taken advice from Happy Money and do you practice that?
I do practice it. I sometimes I still give out of guilt and compulsion, but I'm mindful of it when I do. I think that's the first step, like just being mindful and observing and, moving towards those actions.
Yeah. Good. What has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle and what helped you get through it?
Moving to Houston. Um, Rochester is a mid-sized market. It's 6 hours away from New York City, but an hour and a half away from the Canadian border. In regard to density. You have New York City, then you have Buffalo, then you have Rochester. So when I moved here, being in the city, that's what 4 or 5 times the size of it. Just managing the traffic in itself. I'm not a strong driver, so I had a lot of road anxiety. Like I was legit like I've never had a panic attack, but I've gotten pretty fucking close on these 6-lane highways. And these like, if you've been to Houston, like the fucking overpasses is, some like, yo, where are we going? Uh, so managing that, the cultural difference again, and just being from the East Coast and being a little bit more frank than, most people here. Navigating that, just starting over completely, like building a infrastructure that would support this release. Because everything I've done, I came to Houston to get in a bigger market to put my book and my voice in this position. So everything I've done, every place I've gone to, every relationship I've formed, that has been the intention.
Yeah. And what would you say would help you get through it? What help you? I mean, you're still going. So, but it's helping you adjust.
Good people. Finding my people. I remember my first year, I was so lonely, and I would go out because again, I'm going to push through. I'm going to go out, and I would have these places on my list to go, like the hot spots, the art hubs, or whatever. And I would meet people. You might have like a dope exchange, and then it's like, all right, good, nice meeting you, and then that would be it. Like nothing was sticky, right? And then Houston is so sprawled out in regards to the geography of it. Like I didn't have any friends, and I remember crying, feeling like I just want to be in somebody's kitchen. Like you're somebody's like real friend when you're like in the fucking kitchen with them. You know what I mean? And so then I ended up finding this Black woman therapist who was amazing, and I don't have any sexual attractions to women, none that I act on anyway. But I enjoy like the Black woman's body. Like, and she was thick. She was a thick joint. Like, oh, they make them thick down here, son. Like, it's real. So, so I love looking at her.
No,
she was.
Hold on. I would enjoy. Now, I'm thinking about. I'm gonna start reading your journal, the public one, obviously, on your website.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'm just imagining, like what you just said, is so wild. Yet, I mean, it's honest, right? And I want to tap into that, but that's a whole nother.
Let's do it.
No, it's just not enough time, like to get into it. Like it's a whole nother.
Okay, copy.
But we'll do that. That's a separate episode. But it's actually, I mean, I think when you brought up the fact that you're not attracted to, you said Black women in particular, like other women in particular, but you admire Black women's body, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. As I'm not sexually attracted. Right. I am attracted.
Right.
Right.
And that's I don't think I've ever heard that. And it's it's a unique way of putting it. And so just go into so you have what's your attraction to Black women bodies? Is that what you're going into when you're talking about the lady?
Yes. Okay. I like hips. I like thighs. It's just juicy. You know what I mean? Like, you ever meet a little boy and be like, oh, he's mannish because he's just always on the woman, like on her breast. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that. Like, I feel like I might fuck around and get me too. Because if you're around me, like, I'm gonna slap your ass. Like, like, it's just a good time. I try to give people a warning up front, like, hey, I'm really not a lesbian, but I do need to touch you. And most of the people be with the shit. Yeah.
And people allow you?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Women allow me. They do. They appreciate. They know the difference. You know what I mean? Like, so even in one of my Angelou books, she talked about this. Like, she was living in, I believe, Egypt for the first time, and there was this West African woman in her body that's like the small waist and the billowing of the hips, and they were at a party, and all the women were just like she was younger than all of them too, right? And all of them were just like, yes, like they were all kind of like just petting her and just like, what's the word? Like hyping her up, like, because it's a form of affirming your own sexuality as well. You know what I mean? And so she was experiencing this in a continent for the first time, and it reminded her of like experiences she had, within Black American communities in the States where the women do the same thing. Like it's almost like it's an approval ritual in a way. Like, yeah, you see it now, like when it's a group of chicks and they huddled up and everybody's working and hey, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Something you pointed out though, which I think it's pretty much a great way to crystallize strong relationships. You said you want to be in someone's kitchen.
Yeah.
Where did you first notice or realize that was a strong signal? Like if you were in someone's kitchen and talking, that was a strong signal that this was this wasn't a transactional relationship.
Right. I didn't know again until I got here, and I was just aching for it. And because I like to think I'm a keen observer, like I was able to pinpoint the exact thing I was missing. Because again, I had met people, I had formed, exchanged phone numbers, but I wasn't in nobody's kitchen. Like, nah. Yeah. But now, now I'm in all the kitchens.
Yeah, that's gonna be the title of this interview. I'm in all the kitchens. When people see it, they're gonna think, "Oh, she's a cook or she's a chef," something like that.
Right? Yeah, I'm like fucking ramen noodles, nigga. I'm in every kitchen. Right. What's up?
So, what do you enjoy? I mean, this is actually this is a good idea. But what do you enjoy about being in someone's kitchen?
The intimacy of it, like. There is no mask really, like I see how well you clean or don't clean your stove, like what you actually eat, like it's very like it's just there's no mask when you're that most likely they're in there, they're either preparing something to eat or they're cleaning up, like so they're focused, they're in their element, and they're allowing you to be there, like it's intimate. Yeah.
All right, for a fun question, if you won the lottery tomorrow, and I mean 300 million, is your take home, what would you do?
Oh, okay. It's my take home.
Yes.
Praise the good Lord, first and foremost. I'm buying an Audi. That's my dream car. I know it's not like I love Audis.
Which one?
I'm gonna go with the SUV joint.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even tell you the number or the letters or whatever, but yeah, an Audi SUV. I'm giving money to everybody who has fucked with me. Like my first novel always won more was funded via Kickstarter. Like, I have all types of people who volunteer their services to me. So I'm just going through, I'm making a list of, everybody who has looked out. And yeah, I'm sending money. Which organizations, any organizations that are like inner city, like arts based, I'm giving money to that. I feel like I want to get my pussy ate in a very like luxurious hotel suite somewhere. So, setting that up.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the only thing I don't like about this interview is the fact that the sound is not the best. I always feel like we're gonna do it, but I always feel like we have to redo this interview because it's so great, but yet the sound is not the best, right? Like I feel like this should be clear and light popping, etc., etc. Because
okay. So you're telling me to set my shit up. I need to be prepared for these virtual interviews. I hear you. Copy. Oh, Nigerian ass. See, critical. But I copy though. You're right.
No, I mean, because it's so great. Like, I mean, but anyway, I think I'm still gonna push this. I'm still gonna push it with the sound, etc. But we're gonna do a couple we have to do a few rounds of this because it's too much. But anyway, I interrupted you were talking about
Yeah, nah.
sexual escapade.
Yeah, I'm getting some jewelry. There's this ring at Tiffany's that I want. You know, I've had it on my vision board and then feeling like I wanted somebody to give it to me like as an engagement ring. But again, just being very keen and observing myself, like I don't ever want to cohabitate with a partner again. And then I'm like, why do I even want to be married? I'm like, oh, I just want the ring. Like, you know, it's like a Super Bowl ring. It's like, nigga, you stunting on them, right? But I think I would enjoy more like buying it for myself. Yeah, I'm be drifting some diamonds. Like, what? Some dope ass art shoe. Yeah.
Nice, nice. When I say forgiveness, what comes to mind?
The week.
Can you?
I thought of, I thought of Jesus, like, forgive the Father for they know not what they do. And even when we were talking about earlier, when your focus or any of your positive attributes remind people of a lack of whatever, and then how they can sometimes get in like attack mode or sabotage mode or whatever. So when you think of forgiveness, I think of anything that we need to forgive a person for, it's stemming from a weakness they have. So, and when you look at it that way, it's easier to extend grace and be forgiving.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you would like to thank or express your appreciation for that you haven't had the chance to yet?
Me, and me, nigga. Dylan. I want to thank me for being the realest nigga in every room.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You're too much. So it's all you. You know, person.
It's all me, Drake, nigga. No, actually, I want to thank my therapist who suggested that I join Meetup as a way to get acclimated to Houston. She said it was like college, that you got to join organizations to find your people. Mm-hmm. So I joined Meetup, and I'm reading all the descriptions. I'm like, I'll just make my own because nobody doing what I want. That's why I always end up doing my own shit because it's like, yeah, I ain't really doing it right. So then I created my own meetup called Queenin', and then that's how I met Lola Day, and that's how I'm here. And Lola Day has been my plug to the Nigerian community in Houston. She was my plug to the venue space for Be Healthy event on Tuesday, which, like I said, was as if it was created just to be the new Black launch, because it's everything I believe in, which is Pan-Africanism and Black expression in different forms, and it's all in this absolutely beautiful space. So yeah, and then from the meetups, and I think Yemi, and then I have a friend named Brian who's an amazing photographer and filmmaker, and those were the two like kitchens I was in for the first time, and then that kind of set the foundation for everything else.
Nice. All right, for our final question, how do you define success?
Success is being able to go to any restaurant I want and order wherever the fuck I want, like, period.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. We connected politics, and we will definitely do this again under better conditions with better mic on your end. So. All
right, nigga, send me some suggestions. I'll buy it. A better mic on your end. Let people know this bitch fucked up. Okay, we hear you. Sheesh.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for blessing us today. It was a blast.
Thank you. I knew it was gonna be fun. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.